Well, it's another gorgeous yet very hot day here on the Potomac River for stop number 7 of the FLW Tour presented by Costa Sunglasses. And I got Brandon McMillan standing here with me. And here's what I want to ask you. You're from Florida. Sure. You like flipping.
Yep.
You like grass. There's grass here. It's your first time. So it's got to be going well, right?
Well, it's different. It's different because I don't know. I don't really understand the tides quite yet. Clean water moves around, dirty water takes its place, and vice versa. And it's hard to kind of figure out which, you know what I mean. Back home, if it blows out of the north, south end's kind of, you know, jacked up. It's going to be muddy. So here, it's still kind of throwing me a little bit of a curveball. But it is hot. It is warm, and I like fishing hot weather. I mean, it's hot. It was hardly any wind today. Hydrilla gnats were just all in your face. I mean, that's back home. That's just stuff that doesn't even bother me anymore. That's what we have to deal with on a daily basis. So, but it's definitely different. I mean, it looks kind of looks a lot like Guntersville, you know, does in May and June and stuff like that. You know, it looks good. I mean, it looks like you can catch a bass off of anything. You can go, you know, flip some old dock pilings, you can catch them in the grass, swimming a jig. You know, you can do a lot of different stuff here, and it's, you know, I hadn't quite put it together, but today was a lot better than yesterday. Thank goodness, because it was bad yesterday. But it's a big pond. I was a little surprised at how you didn't look that big on Google Earth, but it's big, it's wide. A lot of fishable areas, so it's good. We got one more day, and I'm going to need it. Definitely.
Well, I kind of want to know, especially for yourself coming up to an event, you know, so far from home. Do you do a lot of pre-tournament research? I mean, like, do you check out, you know, try to get a grasp on how tides work, or look at a tide chart to see what it's going to be doing, or you know, any kind of that internet type of research before you come up here?
Not really. I'm not a big, you know, internet guy. I look at Google Earth just to kind of get some names of creeks down and stuff like that. So when I watch, you know, Windlet Wind before I come up here from 2 years ago, I kind of got an idea of what section of lake that was and stuff. Other than that, I really don't get on the computer and look at a whole lot. You know, as far as the tide chart goes, I'm pretty familiar with reading that. I mean, I grew up saltwater fishing. I actually did more of that for, you know, my younger days of fishing. I grew up saltwater fishing, and then just kind of merged on over in the bass fishing. Even though I live 5 minutes from the lake, we would always vacation over on the coast, and the tide works the same way. I mean, we had a full moon the other day, so it was, or close to a full moon, so the tides pulled harder and stuff like that. So it does the same as the backwaters back home as it does up here. It's just a little bit different. We don't have as many oyster bars to see on low tide, and you know, if the water's clean, it's going to be clean back home. You know, it doesn't have that dirty and clean mixture like it does here. So, but other than that, I mean, you know, I'm a little bit used to fishing saltwater tidal stuff. So, hopefully, some of that experience, if I can remember it, because it's been so long since I actually did it. But yeah, I mean, it looks like you can catch a bass anywhere you go here, and it's got a lot of grass, and I like grass. And coming from Okeechobee, I mean, that's what I do. So, you know, it ought to be interesting.
Well, with one more day of practice for you, like you said, there's a lot of water to break down. What do you hope to accomplish tomorrow? I mean, is it like another section of the river you're hoping to look at, or maybe just check some stuff that you maybe had some bites in before at a different tide or a different part of the tide or something like that? Yeah, that's the hardest part is for me. I mean, I know what good hydrilla and milfoil looks like. You know, what should hold a bass and shouldn't. You know, I found some of that stuff, and I've gotten one bite in it. Maybe I was at the wrong tide. That's the part that's throwing me a curveball. I don't know if you go back and swim a jig when it's a little higher and flip when it's lower, or vice versa, to try to capitalize on get a couple extra bites and narrow in, you know, a 500-yard section to 50 yards, you know. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, you know, I kind of got an idea about what I'm looking for. You know, like I said, the tides are just a little bit different. You know, they seem like they bite. You know, you hit a stretch and you can catch, you know, you get 4 or 5 bites and pretty quick, and then it kind of goes away. And I don't know if that's just you get out of them, or you know, could you milk that, you know, for 4 or 5 hours? I don't know. You know, that I don't know. It's my first time up here again, so you know, it's different, but it's got grass, so I'm happy. That's right. You're still in your comfort zone. Well, I think with that, man, it sounds like you might have a little research to do tonight. You got one more day to figure it out. Thanks for joining us, Brandon.
Right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, this could be the best interview we've ever done because we got Kyle Weisenburger with us. I'm Kyle. A couple of Kyles, it can't go wrong, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Well, Kyle, I wanted to talk to you because you're from Ohio, and I feel like the BFL division you fish there, the Buckeye division, is probably one of the toughest divisions in the whole entire TH Marine BFL division. And because of that, I think you've learned to kind of, persevere, overcome things, but also, for anyone that's watching and is looking for a little help on your fantasy fishing team, you have a top 10 here on the Potomac in a BFL. I believe it was a regional. It was in the fall.
Yeah.
Different time of year. But so tell me about your limited experience here on the Potomac.
Well, the Potomac, in some sense, fishes a lot like some of my home lakes, lily pads, grass, shallow water. So I feel like I'm kind of at home in some of the areas here.
Sure.
Even though it's tidal, it's a little bit different. But so I do feel comfortable here. I've been out for the regional a couple years ago and did 4th place, and then I fished the Costa last year and caught some fish, but didn't do that great. But saying that, I feel like I've been around this pond a few times,
for sure,
and at least know kind of where I'm going and kind of what I'm looking for. So,
well, all right, we're 2 days into practice, obviously, and we're here. This is Mattawoman Creek. Break down for me, is there a section of the river that you've been trying to focus more attention on, or are you one of those guys that kind of does one day, like into thirds, one day down, one day here, one day up?
Yeah, so for here, I pretty much have been from Washington, D.C. bridge up to the 301 bridge. So that's maybe 20-25 mile stretch. And I've ran around quite a bit just trying to find, a lot of different areas of different grass, different lily pads, and the tide changes so much. I'm trying to find something that might fit into the tide window that I'm looking for.
Sure. So you are actually paying attention to the tide somewhat, because we've heard from some of the guys we've talked to already and just general dock talk that there are a lot of guys that come up here that aren't familiar with tides and they just kind of forget about it, find an area that has fish and milk it throughout the course of the tournament, or at least that's their game plan anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'll have to do to some point, but there is a certain tide that I'm getting bit pretty well at.
Okay.
And I've tried to kind of duplicate that, and I think I'll just have to grind it out when that tide's not at that certain level for the rest of the day. But I'm not going to run the tide. I'm just trying to find some of the areas that I can hit that window at the right time, I'm hoping.
Okay.
So, it's fishing small though. Some of the areas that I found, there's a lot of guys in those areas. And I think you're just going to have to kind of just put your head down and fish, and just grind it out.
Which again, I feel like kind of comes back into your wheelhouse, something you're pretty used to doing.
Yeah.
Now with 1 day left to practice, you mentioned you've covered a pretty big stretch of river. Tomorrow, are you going to try a completely different area, or are you going to try to refine some of the things you've already looked at?
I kind of actually refined some of the areas today, so tomorrow I'm going to kind of do some off-the-wall stuff. I'm going to run a little further outside of what I've had the last couple days, and maybe just try some different strategies and see if I can pick up something that I can maybe grind a few fish out if I need a fish or two. I think I'm in the areas where there's kind of numbers of fish, and that's where the numbers of guys are, but I know there's some areas out there that might be a fish here, a fish there you can maybe pull up and catch. So that's what I'm going to look for tomorrow.
Now, I haven't asked anyone this, but I feel like I might as well throw it at you.
All right.
In terms of, I want to hear some weight numbers, and the weight number I'm kind of interested in is a top 20 cut.
Top 20
do you have an idea as to what you think might make that?
I think the weights are going to be pretty good this week. I think you're going to have to grind the fish out in your areas, but I feel like there's quality in there. I'm going to say a 2-day weight of, I'm going to say around 30 pounds is going to be, I'd say, around the top 20 cut.
Okay.
15 a day.
And that's actually, I feel like that's fairly close to what I've heard from some other guys, so I think I like your guess.
Okay.
I like your guess. You're dialed in. Our now foremost Potomac River expert, Kyle Weisenburger. Well, that'll do it, man. I'm going to let you get rolling. Go cool off. Go have a water or something.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, guys.